Negotiation isn't just for boardrooms. It's happening every day, often without you realizing it. Whether you're negotiating a multi-million-dollar contract or simply deciding who's picking up dinner, you're already a negotiator, you just might not know the rules of the game. In fact, studies show that we engage in micro-negotiations dozens of times per day, yet most of us do so without structure, strategy, or confidence. The result? Missed opportunities, emotional friction, and outcomes that feel like compromises instead of wins. Legendary negotiator Chris Voss, a former FBI hostage expert, once said, "When the pressure is on, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your highest level of preparation." That's the secret. Great negotiators aren't born, they're trained. They understand that beneath every deal is a pattern, a psychological current, governed by trust, leverage, timing, and empathy. As Sun Tzu wrote in The Art of War, every battle is won before it is ever fought. The same is true in negotiation. Your success is shaped long before you ever sit down at the table. To visualize this, imagine negotiation like a dance. One partner leads, the other follows, but the roles can shift in a heartbeat. When you negotiate your salary, you're not just talking numbers, you're managing self-worth, company expectations, and market dynamics. When planning a vacation with family, you're juggling priorities, emotions, and the silent need to feel heard. These aren't just conversations. They're strategic exchanges where power, empathy, and clarity collide. And just like dancing, if one person missteps, the entire rhythm breaks. Ask yourself, are you reacting or responding? Are you offering concessions too quickly to avoid discomfort? Or are you holding your position so tightly that you forget the real goal, mutual progress? The truth is, the best negotiators master the emotional undercurrents. They listen with intention, pause with purpose, and make the other party feel safe enough to collaborate, not compete. That's where real influence lies, not in dominance, but in connection. So, if you've ever walked away from a conversation thinking, "I could have handled it better," now is the time to change that. You already negotiate every day. Imagine what would happen if you did it with strategy and confidence. Whether it's your career, your relationships, or your finances, negotiation is the skill that unlocks them all. Start practicing, stay curious, and remember, your voice matters, use it wisely. Every battle is won before it is ever fought. Sun Tzu. When the pressure is on, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your highest level of preparation. Chris Voss. About the author. Cash Nickerson is a seasoned executive, attorney, and author, serving as chairman and CEO of Nickerson Stoney Incorporated and president of Cash Nickerson PC with a career spanning decades in law, business strategy, and high-stakes negotiation. He brings deep real-world insight to his writing and public speaking. He is the author of several acclaimed books, including Listening as a Martial Art, 2012, Boomerangs, 2014, and Getting to Next, 2015. His leadership and impact have earned him numerous honors, such as the Distinguished Alumni Award from Washington University School of Law and the Global Philanthropy Award for his contributions to the Harris Institute's Crimes Against Humanity initiative. Key Takeaway 1. Why attention is your secret weapon in negotiation. Master the art of strategic discomfort. Ever felt your chest tighten in a money conversation or your jaw clench during a tough meeting? You're not alone. Research shows that most people instinctively shy away from tension, especially in negotiations, seeking comfort, quick consensus, or compromise. But what if avoiding discomfort is costing you results? According to negotiation experts and behavioral psychologists, tension isn't something to fear, it's something to understand and harness. In fact, the best negotiators know that managing pressure wisely is the key to powerful outcomes. As legendary negotiator Chris Voss once said, "Tension is where growth happens." And in the words of Seneca, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Just like weightlifting, negotiation requires resistance to build strength. Too little, and you get walked over. Too much, and the conversation collapses. But when managed properly, that pressure becomes productive. Think of negotiation tension as emotional weight training. You're not avoiding the strain, you're training yourself to carry it smarter. So, how do you work with tension instead of against it? Consider the martial artist, who doesn't panic under pressure but instead uses their opponent's force strategically. That's exactly how skilled negotiators treat discomfort, not as a threat, but as a diagnostic tool. When your counterpart resists or hesitates, that's a signal, an insight into what matters to them. Rather than smoothing things over too quickly, lean in. Ask yourself, what's this discomfort revealing? Where's the opportunity hiding? And here's your greatest anchor in the storm, your BATNA. Knowing your best alternative to a negotiated agreement is like having a safety net under a tightrope. When you know you can walk away with your dignity and goals intact, you're less likely to crumble under pressure. Instead of chasing validation or agreement, you can focus on creating real value, not just quick deals. Negotiation confidence doesn't come from bravado, it comes from clarity. In the chapters ahead, we'll decode how tension shifts depending on relationships, power dynamics, and timing. You'll explore what really gives you leverage, and how to steer negotiations whether you're leading a team or solo. And most importantly, you'll learn how to transform internal stress into strategic insight. Because once you stop fearing discomfort, you start mastering negotiation. Remember, pressure doesn't break the prepared, it sharpens them. Get ready to replace anxiety with awareness, and reaction with resilience. Key takeaway 2. How to negotiate in any relationship, master business, partnerships and one-time deals. Imagine trying to strike a deal at a yard sale versus negotiating a multi-year contract with a business partner. The stakes, emotions, and strategies are entirely different, yet many people approach both with the same tactics. That's where things go wrong. Every negotiation begins with a relationship, whether it's built over 5 minutes or 5 years, and how you manage that relationship determines your success. Tension isn't just inevitable, it's relational. The key is understanding which type of tension you're working with. As negotiation expert 𝐄𝐀𝐒𝐿 explains, relationships create context, and context drives behavior. When dealing with strangers, many people rush to prove themselves, oversell, or push for immediate results. But the most effective negotiators resist this impulse. Instead, they let trust build organically, through tone, consistency, and small signals of respect. Even a one-time negotiation can plant seeds for long-term opportunities, if handled with intention. But what about long-term partnerships or repeat clients? Now the tension shifts. Here, the struggle often lies in balancing short-term wins with long-term trust. You may wonder, should I push harder for this deal, or protect the relationship? There's no easy answer. But skilled negotiators understand this tension and work within it, focusing on patterns of mutual respect, transparent communication, and aligned expectations. The idea isn't to win at all costs, it's to build durable alliances that benefit both sides over time. And when the stakes are even deeper, such as in joint ventures or co-managed projects, the complexity increases. These negotiations require navigating shared goals, individual interests, and emotional investment. Think of it like dancing a duet. You need rhythm, boundaries, and trust. The best negotiators know how to assert needs without rupturing the connection, adjusting their pace based on both the strength of the relationship and the clarity of the destination. So ask yourself, what kind of relationship am I negotiating from, and where do I want it to go? This question alone can transform your strategy. Whether you're discussing price in a single meeting or crafting a multi-year collaboration, adapting your tone and tactics to the relational context can be the difference between a deal that breaks down and a relationship that breaks open new doors. Because when you see negotiation as relationship building, not just deal closing, you start creating value that lasts. Key takeaway 3. The secret to negotiation success: master timing and communication strategy. Ever noticed how some people seem to glide through negotiations like dancers in perfect rhythm, while others stumble through with missteps and misunderstandings? That's because negotiation is more than what you say, it's how and when you say it. From the medium you choose to the moment you make your move, every decision sets the tone for your success. Whether you're closing a business deal, resolving a conflict, or leading a team discussion, timing and process can make or break the outcome. As seasoned negotiators like 𝐄𝐀𝐒𝐿 teach, process creates structure, and timing sets the mood. Face-to-face meetings offer the richness of eye contact and body language, ideal for high-stakes deals but risky if you're unprepared. Email gives you space to reflect and document everything precisely, yet may lose emotional nuance. And video calls? They offer a golden middle ground, personal without being too pressured. The smartest negotiators choose communication channels with intention, not convenience. So how do you match method to mission? If the goal is clarity and control, email is your friend. If trust and chemistry matter more, go face-to-face. But the real artistry lies in managing tempo. Push too fast and you seem aggressive. Move too slowly and the deal slips away. Great negotiators sense this stance and know when to pause, when to lead, and when to let the other party step forward. It's like conducting an orchestra, every beat matters. Want to make progress in high-stakes conversations? Break down complex negotiations into smaller, achievable moves. Start by locking in easy agreements to build trust and momentum. This not only reduces pressure but also creates valuable checkpoints to reassess direction and build mutual confidence. Layer in awareness of external forces, year-end budgets, shifting markets, company calendars, and you gain leverage through timing that most overlook. Here's the truth, you're not just reacting to negotiations, you're shaping them. Think of yourself not as a participant, but a choreographer. The way you guide the rhythm, select the stage, and respond to shifts determines whether the outcome is disjointed or harmonious. So next time you step into a negotiation, ask yourself, am I controlling the tempo, or dancing to someone else's tune? With strategic timing and the right process, you can lead every deal to a productive finish, and do it with confidence. Key takeaway 4. How to gain power in negotiation without force, mastering BATNA and influence. Imagine stepping into a negotiation feeling uncertain, then walking out knowing you steered the entire conversation. That kind of confidence doesn't come from status or salary. It comes from understanding the invisible force that shapes every exchange, power. But power in negotiation isn't about dominating the room. It's more like navigating a river, constantly shifting, subtle, and influenced by the current beneath the surface. Negotiation expert 𝐂𝐀𝐒𝐿 reminds us that real strength isn't always visible. Power is often hidden in preparation, not presentation. Many people assume leverage is all about clout, job titles, money, or company size. But true negotiation power lies in your alternatives, knowledge, and emotional discipline. Your BATNA, your best alternative to a negotiated agreement, is your secret current. When you know you can walk away with dignity, you show up more composed, make clearer decisions, and listen with greater focus. So how do you tap into this kind of strength? Preparation is your armor. Maybe you know something the other party doesn't, a market trend, a timing advantage, or a unique connection. Each of these can quietly tip the scales in your favor. But here's the twist, wielding power too visibly can backfire. When others feel outmatched, they may resist or try to undermine the deal. That's why great negotiators pair strength with empathy, balancing leverage with trust. Timing also plays a pivotal role. Deadlines can drain your power if you're desperate to close a deal. But when you're patient and prepared, time becomes your ally. It's like being the calm person in a room of urgency, your stability gives you control. Ask yourself, am I walking into this negotiation with pressure, or with perspective? Your answer might reveal more about your position than any numbers on a spreadsheet. In the end, power in negotiation isn't about pushing harder. It's about staying centered, knowing your worth, and navigating pressure with strategy instead of ego. Understand the flow, adjust your stance, and move with intention. Because when you master the quiet art of influence, you don't just win deals, you earn respect, build partnerships, and open doors you never saw coming. Key takeaway 5. Negotiating as a team, how to stay aligned and lead with confidence. Picture this, you're in a high-stakes negotiation, but you're not alone. You're representing someone else or working with a full team, and suddenly, it's not just your voice or interests at play. The complexity multiplies, not just in content, but in communication. When you negotiate on behalf of others, the stakes are higher, the margin for error is thinner, and the emotional dynamics can shift quickly beneath the surface. Acting as an agent is like walking a tightrope. You're expected to speak with authority, yet remain accountable to someone else's vision. Negotiation expert 𝐂𝐀𝐒𝐿 emphasizes, the agent must dance between loyalty and leadership. It's all about balance, knowing when to drive the conversation and when to pause and consult. Without clear boundaries and trust from your principal, you risk either overstepping or stalling progress. Negotiation team strategy hinges on this tightrope walk, authority with restraint. Now, add a team to the mix, and the dance becomes a full-blown orchestra. The sales department wants speed, legal demands caution, and finance scrutinizes every penny. Team negotiation dynamics are often more challenging than the negotiation itself. Misalignment sends mixed messages to the other side, and fractures your position of strength. But when handled right, those internal differences spark creativity. Think of it as tuning an instrument, each voice matters, but harmony is key. So how do you manage all these moving parts? It starts internally. Great negotiators are self-aware, they monitor their emotions, question their assumptions, and pause when tensions rise. And if you're leading a negotiating team, your role is part conductor, part coach. You facilitate regular check-ins, give space for quiet concerns, and establish a clear decision-making process. That clarity doesn't just ease tension, it builds unity and forward momentum. In the end, negotiating as a team isn't about control, it's about collaboration with purpose. When you lead with clarity, listen with empathy, and align with your team's deeper mission, you do more than close deals, you build relationships and reputations. Because the best negotiators don't just win the moment, they shape the future through trust and strategy. Key takeaway 6. Master the rhythm of negotiation, turning tension into your greatest advantage. What if tension in negotiation wasn't a sign of conflict, but a sign you're on the right path? Just like a symphony needs tension between its instruments to create harmony, successful negotiations require a balance of contrasting forces. Whether you're negotiating a business merger or resolving a team disagreement, tension is the music that tells you something meaningful is unfolding. Ignore it, and you miss the rhythm. Tune in, and you gain control of the entire performance. Legendary negotiators know that tension isn't the enemy, it's the instrument. As Cash Nickerson wisely puts it, negotiation is not about domination, it's about orchestration. Each element, your relationship with the other party, your power dynamics, your role as an agent or team leader, plays a different note. Timing and communication form the beat. When played in sync, these tensions don't disrupt progress, they drive it forward with precision and grace. Let's break it down with real-world clarity. Think about trying to solve a conflict between a vendor and your internal stakeholders. The rhythm of your response to the vendor is influenced by how united your internal team is. Or imagine you're representing someone else in a deal. Suddenly, your flexibility tightens, your tone shifts, and the timeline may stretch. Each layer of tension, internal and external, feeds the others. You can't ignore the interplay, you have to feel it, like a seasoned musician responding to a live audience. So how do you stay in sync when the room gets loud and discordant? It starts with shifting your mindset. Tension isn't a problem to eliminate, it's feedback to guide you. Just like you adjust your posture during resistance training, you adjust your language, tone, and pace in negotiation when friction arises. That flexibility is born from awareness and refined through experience, not from a script. Here's your call to action: lean into the discomfort. See each negotiation as a performance you can master, not by overpowering others, but by tuning into the natural push and pull of the moment. When you embrace tension as part of the process, you don't just survive negotiation, you transform it into a powerful tool for clarity, connection, and meaningful progress. Negotiation is often misunderstood as a battle of wills or a mere numbers game. But in the 7 tensions of negotiation, Cash Nickerson reveals a deeper truth. Negotiation is a dynamic, human-centered process governed by underlying tensions that can either derail or empower us. Drawing from years of experience as a business leader and attorney, Nickerson reframes negotiation not as something to fear, but as a skill we can master through awareness, empathy, and strategic intent. The book opens with a powerful insight: tension is not the enemy, it's a guide. Whether you're negotiating a job offer, a business deal, or even family plans, tension is a signal that something meaningful is at stake. Nickerson compares it to weightlifting: too little resistance, and you don't grow; too much, and you risk collapse. Mastering negotiation begins with learning to stay calm and grounded amid the discomfort, treating it as feedback, not failure. A core concept throughout the book is the importance of BATNA, best alternative to a negotiated agreement. Knowing your fallback option builds confidence and reduces desperation, which dramatically improves your presence at the table. When you're clear on your worth and alternatives, you don't chase agreements, you shape them. Negotiators with strong BATNAs speak with clarity, act decisively, and remain emotionally steady, even under pressure. Nickerson also explores how relationship dynamics influence negotiation. Whether you're dealing with a stranger or a longtime business partner, your approach must shift to reflect the nature of the relationship. Short-term deals may prioritize price and speed, while long-term collaborations demand trust, mutual respect, and careful boundary setting. The best negotiators understand how to calibrate their tone, timing, and tactics to match the relationship context. Another overlooked area is team and agent-based negotiation. When you represent others or collaborate with a team, internal alignment becomes critical. Conflicting priorities within your group can weaken your position, while coordinated strategy leads to more creative and resilient solutions. Nickerson emphasizes the importance of pre-negotiation planning, clear communication, and awareness of your own emotional responses when stakes are high. The book then dives into timing and process, two often underutilized levers of power. Choosing the right format, face-to-face, email, or video, can influence how trust is built and how pressure is managed. Similarly, Knowing when to push forward or pause can change the entire outcome of a negotiation. Like a skilled conductor, the best negotiators feel the tempo and adjust accordingly. Power, too, is redefined in this book. Rather than viewing power as dominance, Nickerson shows how real negotiating power flows from calm confidence, preparation, and the ability to listen deeply. He warns against overplaying visible forms of power and reminds readers that patience and timing often trump titles and size. The most successful negotiators are those who make others feel safe, seen, and heard, even while holding firm to their goals. Ultimately, The 7 Tensions of Negotiation is a guide to deeper awareness. It teaches us to embrace complexity, to lean into discomfort with purpose, and to use tension as a source of insight, not anxiety. By mastering these 7 tensions, you don't just get better deals, you build better relationships and lead with integrity. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to help spread the tools of emotional intelligence and strategic clarity. And if no one told you lately, remember this: you are loved, you are worthy, and you are spectacularly capable of achieving extraordinary goals.